It's out.
Hello everyone, the team news is out. Liverpool versus Manchester City. There's a bunch of ways in which you can obviously interact with us. You can tweet us at the Red Men TV, or you can use the live comments alongside. If you're a member, it means you get access to all the amazing emotes and all that stuff. But any thoughts you have on the team, let me know and we'll chat through it in a few minutes time. But it is that time. Let's head over to the man, the legend, Mr. Chris Pajak, over on the board with the Liverpool starting 11.
Okay,
Chris.
so it's a good starting 11 first and foremost. We've got Alisson Becker in net, happy about that obviously. Robertson, Jordan Henderson, Fabinho and Trent Alexander-Arnold round off the back four. We got Wijnaldum, we got Kurt Jones, we got Thiago. We think Wijnaldum will play the 6. Then we've got Sadio Mane, he's back in the starting 11. We've got Mo Salah and we've got Roberto Firmino. Substitutes, Adrian in for Kelleher, don't know why, but he's there. We've got Kostas Tsimikas, we've got Nat Phillips, we've got Kabak, we've got Nico Williams, James Milner, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Xherdan Shaqiri and Divock Origi. So, first of all, obviously Jordan Henderson and Fabinho, that's the big talking point. Who was going to start centre-half? Would we see Davies? Would we see Kabak? Well, Kabak makes the bench, no Ben Davies on the bench for this one. And it kind of makes sense, but then also there is a little part of me that goes, oh, come on, we've just bought a load of centre-halves so we could get our midfielders back in. Fabinho being back in is the biggest thing here for me. Fabinho being in, Alisson being in, Mane being in, that is the single biggest thing for me. Those three being back in the game. For me, I'll take Kabak and Ben Davies coming in another time because we've got Mane, we've got Fabinho, and we've got Alisson back. And, you know, the centre-back partnership, they've played well together. The team knows how to play with those two at the back. So I'm all right with that. I know it's going to be a tough ask against Manchester City, but having these three against the best defence in the league is probably the most important thing for us. And could we see it as a 4-3-3 straight up like we've seen so many times going against Manchester City? Or could we do something a little bit different? Obviously, we've messed around with that diamond, and I know we've not seen Bobby in there, but could we see something like that, where we've got Bobby Firmino and we've got Mane ahead of him to the left and Salah to the right-hand side? Because I know you're probably thinking, well, that's kind of how they play at times anyway, but it would be nice to just have Mane and Salah a little bit closer to each other so that they're able to sort of interact on the field and stuff like that, which would be nice, but I'm not sure we will do it. But that would also give us a numerical advantage in the middle of the park, so that might be something nice. Obviously, the talking points on the bench is, I don't know why Kelleher's not made this one, but he's not anyway. Kabak's given the nod over Ben Davies. Phillips is an interesting one that he's in there. Because I just thought that Ben Davies might get a shot on the bench, and then the forward players are the forward players from the last few weeks and stuff. So all told, I think I'm pretty pleased with that going in against Manchester City. I think we've got the best side that I think that we know that we can put out. And what I mean by that is, obviously, I think regardless, apart from the new signings, that's the best side we've got available to us right now. And then you could question whether Kabak should be in there, but having no time really to train with his mates, having no time really to work on like the set pieces and all that type of thing, it makes sense to me to just see Jordan Henderson and Fabinho at the back, because at least they've played together a few times now, you know what I mean? So, yeah, how are you feeling about that, Paul? I'm pretty pleased, mate.
Yeah, I think there's a little part that wants to see the new and shiny things. I definitely want to see the new centre-halves play, and I agree with the logic, but I think that midfield's more than capable of causing problems to Manchester City, and I think that defence, I think when you're putting your best foot forward until Kabak and or Davies prove themselves to be good enough to play for Liverpool, then that's the best. That's still our best choice centre-half partnership, because, and we had a chat about this before in the office before, the Nat Phillips thing. He hasn't put a foot wrong this season when he's been playing for us, but that doesn't mean that I'd be happy to see him go up against Manchester City. And we've got the City team, actually, they've got a front three of Phil Foden, Raheem Sterling and Riyad Mahrez, which is far from City's most potent attack per se, and obviously no Kevin De Bruyne in the midfield either.
Is it Rodrigo Gundogan Silva?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So, and now just for completion, they've got Zinchenko, Ruben Dias, John Stones and João Cancelo in there, and Edison in net as well. But
so no Jesus, he's on the bench?
He's on the bench, yeah. Interesting. And yeah, so maybe there's a missed opportunity, but really, yeah, I still think in terms of experience, in terms of quality, that's probably the best back four we can put out at the moment. I mean, it's all well and good with the Kabak stuff. I don't know why Davies isn't on the bench, and maybe it's just a nod to the fact that Phillips has performed really well, and there's only so many spaces. They've already got four defenders on the bench already. or what's Kabak done? He did a very nice rondo in training. I think everyone probably saw that video where he megs Trent, but that's not just because you've megged Trent in training doesn't mean you're ready to come up against Manchester City. So I agree with you. I think that's a pretty decent side. It still looks a little lightweight, the bench, in terms of game-changing options. Although Shaqiri could do worse. Oxlade-Chamberlain's got a good record in this game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it comes down to this. Look, Kabak might be a better defender than Fabinho, and he might be a better defender than Jordan Henderson, but he hasn't had a chance to forge any type of a partnership. So a team's more than the sum of its parts. Fabinho and Henderson have played together enough times now to know each other's game, and, you know, they've played with the full-backs as well. So in this type of a game, I can understand Klopp not wanting to roll the dice and risk playing Kabak or Ben Davies in this one. So I'm comfortable with that. And I think, you know, the midfield, when they've had that back four behind, has played all right, you know, and I think the Jones-Milner thing's a bit of a surprise for me heading into this game. Yeah. It's not a surprise that Jones has started, but it was a surprise that Milner started against Brighton, having played 3 games prior to Brighton, back to back to back. Yeah. And then him going for the full time. He looked dead on his feet, so I totally get him not playing in this game. Yeah. I just wondered whether Jones would have been the call for Milner, or whether he'd always sort of decided that Jones was going to be in this game.
Exactly.
That's the only way you can think of it, isn't it?
100%, yeah. You've just done the whole conversation from both sides there, yeah, absolutely, all of that, spot on. No, I agree. The Milner decision looked crazy at the time, but only in the light of we thought Milner was in our best midfield 3 that we had available, and therefore he was playing against Man City, whereas quite clearly Curtis Jones has been in the mind to start this game all along, and I agree with that, because what has been the foundations for a lot of our successes against Man City, it's having someone who carries the ball through midfield, it's having someone comfortable in possession who's front foot and drives towards the back four. Now, Curtis Jones doesn't necessarily do it in an Oxlade-Chamberlain way, which is very straight line-ish from the right side of the 8. Kurt, as we've highlighted in recent weeks, floats along the back four, but that's cool. You know, he is a very dynamic footballer. I think if Oxlade-Chamberlain was up to speed, he might have been considered for this game.
Maybe.
If Naby Keita's fit, he probably plays this game. But at this point, Curtis Jones is the best, fittest, most informed we have available who does that kind of thing for us.
And hopefully he'll be unleashed against Manchester City, because he'll have been chomping at the bit to get starts over the last few weeks, because he'll have thought that he deserves starts.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, he's quality, isn't he? And I think particularly when you've got a game like this, when you've got Phil Foden on the other side, who is being heralded as the once a future king of all English football and all that kind of stuff. And Kurt Jones has kind of gone, I think he's getting plaudits, and he should do. But he's a bit under the radar at the moment. He thrives in those kind of environments, I think. We had some super chats that have come in. Benjamin Haugneset. Yes, thank you. Sorry. What took so long? We were out buying biscuits. Unfortunately not. We were out discovering that the milk that we had in the fridge was a little bit past its best.
A little bit.
Yeah.
There was islands on top of my coffee there.
Trig Josh is super chatted in as well. Thank you so much, Josh. What do you reckon about Craig Bailey's comments about Klopp? With what Klopp's done with Liverpool over the last few seasons, he has a free pass. People should understand Liverpool are crippled with injuries. No need for excuses regarding Man City. I haven't seen Craig Bailey's comments. What I've noticed on a couple of Twitter accounts though is this idea that Jurgen Klopp is cracking up and people are trying to poke holes and people are trying to look at where the problems lie. I've been saying this for a while now, that I don't think there's a major underlying problem at Liverpool beyond the fact that there's just too many really good players missing. And so any comments that try to again, Josh, if you want to let us know what it was that Craig Bailey said, that we can respond to it more accurately. But I said this before, I think you actually walked out the room at this point, but everyone outside of Liverpool who doesn't really like Liverpool are all looking for a big, deep-rooting malaise that's caused Liverpool's problem, because that's gives them hope. It gives them hope that Liverpool aren't going to be very good anymore, and they're as good as they're going to get, and then it's all going to come crashing down. So we've seen quite a few of these mad conspiracy theories and hopes and dreams. We used to do this with United all the time.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's never as bad as you think it is. And there's just been so many extenuating circumstances this season, and I'm bored of saying them all, because we all know as Liverpool fans what they are. Now, if the rest of the country doesn't want to see that, that's on them. That's not on us. You know what I mean? I think we're all pretty level-headed, and we understand for the most part that, you know, losing between 3 and 7 first team players are portions of your season, and most of the time at one time has an adverse effect on your football side. You know, when you losing your talisman, like when we first, you know, when we were good in 17, 18 and whatnot, and prior to that as well under Jurgen Klopp. But everyone said we were 2 players away from winning the league. I remember Nicky from West Ham Fan TV telling us, you're a goalkeeper and centre-half away from winning the league here. And shockingly enough, we were. Yeah. And you know, how many times have we been in that position where we're one piece of the jigsaw missing and we never got that last final jigsaw piece right? Well, this time we did. And you saw what it did to that side, and it elevated us to a level. Because the rest of the team, yeah, they've improved a bit, but for the most part, it's come from a stability at the back and then them being able to go and show who they are and flourish in that system. Yeah. So Liverpool have been able to do that. Now you've taken that player away, the player that we were dead close to the winning the league without, and we're close to the top of the table, but we're not in a position where we can win the league right now. Yeah. It's hardly fucking rocket science, is it? You know what I mean? And then plus we've had more injuries and everything else that's going on in the world as well. Liverpool are close to winning the league. Next season when Virgil van Dijk is back, I'm putting money on Liverpool winning the league.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got money on Liverpool winning the league this season. I only put it on 2 weeks ago. Before. No. A little bit more. I got 8-1 on Liverpool to win the title, Chris. I went more than I've ever gone on a normal individual bet.
£6?
3.
Okay, wait, I knew it was low.
Scott Hawks with the super chat saying, not surprising.
As much as we can't afford to lose, mate.
Well, no, it was here. Yeah, I wish it was £3 now that we've lost the game again. Not surprised as much as we'd like to see Kabak, having had less than a handful of training sessions. The front line needs to turn up in a big way, as does Gini in the 6. Big game for Curtis. Come on, you Reds. Yeah, it's all the stuff you were saying there is absolutely spot on with this, for me anyway. Massive game of football. We are desperately lacking a lot of footballers. Look, Man City have got a couple of injuries. They've not got their best player on the pitch. They've not got their and look, Aguero hasn't turned up for a year, so he's still their best centre forward to me, but I don't think he is anymore. But also the fact that Gabriel Jesus doesn't play regular football for them, I don't quite know who is for them. The thing that's interesting about this team selection, Fabinho and Mane and Alisson only came back to training midweek pretty much. So they've not had loads of training time. Now, Alisson should be fine because he was just sick. But Fabinho and Mane were not 100% sure what's on that. So there's the thing about the Kabak stuff. Kabak might actually be ready to start this game. But there's a possibility where there might just be a little warning flag over Fabinho. And there might be a little warning flag over Mane. And if you're dropping another lad in who might get absolutely fucking roasted here because he's new and he's just come from a shite team who are still shite without him, you might have had to hook him, and then you're in a position where there's a couple of lads on that pitch who you've gambled on, with whom you need to make substitutions down the line. So, you know, there's a whole host of circumstances that I think Klopp's keeping an eye out on.
Just on the centre-forward thing, look, listen, I think Aguero's one of the best strikers the league's seen, full stop. Like, up there with your Henrys and your Suarez's and everything, and he's done it for longer than all of them, I think, right now. You know, he's been there a long time and stuff. They've kind of had to get used to the fact that he's not going to be a massive part of their side for a long time, and their system's so good that I think loads of players can flourish under it. But the one thing that they've got this season is they've got a defence. The winning game's 1-0. So it's not mattered quite in the same way. You know what I mean? Like, we can still score goals, but we're conceding fucking loads of goals by comparison.
But Firmino didn't score a home goal last season until, like, post-restart. It was the Chelsea, the last home game of the season.
Exactly.
And so you're right, is that our forward three haven't had to carry the team when we got the defence sorted, and that's exactly the same way with Manchester City. And again, in this no fan football, it's so much easier to be a defensive team because there's just no mounting pressure that gets put on you by having 50,000 people oohing and ahhing and groaning and biting the nails and all that kind of stuff, or negatively going against you. And that's where Man City's success is coming from.
I also think there's a phase of play that Manchester City are better than Liverpool at. You know, even when we're at our best, to be honest with you, and people might disagree with me here, but I think they're just better at keeping the ball between the defenders, you know, and the midfield. I think like Liverpool will keep going forward. Manchester City, the centre-backs never really, for me anyway, look under pressure. You know, even when they're being pressed, they're able to play it back, and they don't like panic and start playing the ball forward. Yeah. Whereas I think Liverpool at times are still capable of doing that. Like, they feel the press, whereas City just are so good at that it just doesn't matter. They'll just take the ball off you for 10 minutes straight and go, go, it's fine, lads, use pressures and we're still comfortable with it here.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. Michael East with the 4.99, thank you so much, Michael. Agree that this is our best centre-back pairing at the moment. Just feel we lose too much from midfield without them there. Thought Kabak was worth the risk. Yeah, and I guess, we'll see. We know that Klopp's not going to take... There's games to take big risks in, and Manchester City is your biggest game of the season, particularly with so much riding on it. Now, I know that the potential benefits could be there, but I'd still look at a midfield three. I mean, I know that like Rodri, Bernardo Silva and Ilkay Gundogan are all really good footballers, but I wouldn't say any of them are, none of them are the best players in the world in that, and I don't think we've necessarily got much of that. I mean, Thiago, I think you could argue Bayern Munich was the best in the world in his position. I think we've got a good midfield, and I think they've got a good midfield. I think our midfield can cause their midfield problems, and possibly vice versa. So I think he's taken a balancing act there, and he's gone. I think if we were lacking one more, like if Gini was out or something like that, we might have
gambled.
Yeah, exactly. But at the moment, I think we've spread ourselves quite nicely across a full 11. That hasn't got the highs. We've got the front three as the high, and we've got the fullbacks as the high, and everything else is kind of making it work.
Even then, if you put a centre back in that partnership between probably the right sided centre half, let's say, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, that's new. The partnership between the centre back pairing's new. The partnership between the goalkeeper and the centre backs is new, and then the build up plays different as well. So there's just too many things, isn't there? Where for just changing one player and a brand new player. Like, it's a lot of change throughout the side. So I totally understand it. And you might think that Jurgen's being conservative. Well, he might be. Because I think if we get beat here, we're categorically out the title race. Mm-hmm. So, conservative, fine.
Yeah. And again, conservative, we're talking about conservatism when we've got two ball playing centre mids, playing centre half for us. That's our vision of conservatism at the moment, which is funny when you consider it. But yeah, I mean, again, it's a big task. The task is not to get blown away and keep yourself in the game, because I don't think we're not starting games as quickly as we have done in years gone by when we've caused loads of City problems. And I wonder whether that he feels Curtis Jones is a key component in helping us be like that from the start of the football match. But yeah, you just don't want to get to a position where you've ruined your new centre half. You're throwing a lad in who's not ready. Klopp is not a for today, for tomorrow kind of manager. Kabak needs to have the rule run over him as well as possible. It destabilises everything you do when you just throw lads in out the cold. And look, we might yet see him at some point in the game if we really need to. We've got that option to go up.
Hopefully we see him in the 93rd minute when we're 1-0 up and he just throws Kabak on in between the two centre halves. That'd be lovely. That's a debut and a half, mate.
Definitely. Kiga_123. All I've heard from mates is we are turning into Klopp's last season at Dortmund. It's frustrating. Don't they realise we have injuries? Yeah, I've seen there's been. I said this over on my channel. There's been loads of deep thought pieces gone into this, and lots of major pundits. They're trying to go, oh, is this and that? It's mad. It's like you looking ahead. And you're looking, what's all these problems that I could see in this? Was that a problem I see over there? And the problem is literally lying at your feet, and you're totally looking straight over it. So yeah, I know. I look good because it means that I think Liverpool have got issues, and I think they're not the team that they were last season. But I still contend that all the players that this team needs to make it a top team are owned by Liverpool Football Club at the moment, and if you put them back in, you'll be fine.
100%.
Yeah, you need better centre halves. Well, we own them. You need better midfielders. Well, they're playing in defence for us. You need a cover. You need someone to really challenge the front three to match their levels and output. It's Jota. We've got them. They're there. They're literally already there. So yeah, it could be a damn sight worse, and it's not, which is great. Jules Red Eye with £5 Super Chat saying, I think Thiago will shine this game and prove the doubters wrong. This is
doing my head in, lad. Fucking hell, Paul.
Not even my head in. I just feel a bit sorry for people who are so wrong. But you have this. There's just people who just have just got the wrong end of the stick, and they don't realise they've got the wrong end of the stick, and no amount of explaining it to them will make them see that they're stupid. I think Thiago really slows us down. Again, it's just I said the problem is here, and we're going. Is that Thiago passing the ball sideways over there? Fuck. Nah.
Honestly, I just don't understand it. Thiago's been sound in pretty much every game he's played. I think he's had one below average, but other than that, it's been above average performance every single game from him. And you can't. He's not going to score you the goals to win the games on a consistent basis. That's not the player that he is, you know what I mean? So you just got to just watch him. Yeah. Watch him and decide whether he's having a good game or a bad game, and you'll quickly come to the decision that actually he's having a good game pretty much all the time.
People are slating Thiago with the same abuse. It's like there's only so many types of like stick you can give a footballer that exist, and you've got all these. Imagine if it was like a card that you could play, like you play Magic the Gathering or something like that, and you go, I'm going to play my sideways and backwards passing card, and like we're activated when watching Lucas Leiva play. Oh right, sound. Well, I'll just scribble that out, and someone's come out and put Jordan Henderson. Thiago. We use this when we're talking about Thiago. Now, nonsense. Complete and utter fucking nonsense. Liverpool will get better. They will be better. And they've got more than enough in their locker to give Man City a game today. Whether they do remains to be seen. We will be here 15 minutes before kickoff. So 4:15. Join us back here for that. Just want to let you know we've got an amazing competition running, which I know very little about. But Chris Pajak knows the full work.
Yes. So obviously we released the Beers of Anfield Road merchandise range the other day. We've got loads of player designs and stuff from the Beers of Anfield Road, which we'll be putting on t-shirts and stuff. So what we're basically asking everybody is to help us pick which ones to put up next, and we're doing that as a competition over on our Twitter account, so twitter.com/TheRedmenTV. Go over there. It'll be going out inside the next hour if it's not out already. With 16 designs to choose from. Pick your top 3, share it and all that type of stuff. The details are there, and you could win a set of 3 brand new Beers of Anfield Road t-shirts, which is fucking wicked.
And just in case you're watching us and not paying attention to the football, is that a 0-0 draw for Wolves and Leicester as well, which means that a win today would take us above Leicester City in the league. Definitely something to keep your eyes peeled for right there. Right, excellent. Thank you so much for everyone who's joined us. Yeah, check back 4:15 on the channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel right now if you haven't done so already. Do it! Come on, do it! And yeah, I'll be back very, very soon for probably game of the season. Fingers crossed in our favour. Ta-ra.